I've read nonfiction books every single week for the past 7 years. And I can tell you now, it's not about how much you read. It's about how you read and what you actually do with the knowledge. If you're new here, my name is Jared, and I'm a high school teacher turned leadership coach. In this video, I'm going to share what 366 straight weeks of nonfiction reading taught me about reading, learning, and transforming. Although I do love productivity, this is not about hacks to read faster. This video is about how to grow in depth, alignment, and maturity on purpose. So here's the question that really changed a lot for me. What if the real value of reading isn't found in the book at all? And this leads me to the first lesson I learned over the last 7 years. Reading is valuable, but not in the way I thought. Most people treat reading like a checklist: finish more books, get smarter, move on. But I started realizing some books reshaped how I thought, how I led, and how I showed up at home. That's when the light bulb went off for me. I'm not reading for information, I'm reading for transformation. I do read fiction, but what I'm talking about here is primarily nonfiction. When it comes to all the nonfiction that I read, I'm not escaping when I'm reading. I'm investing. I'm searching for insight. I'm after internal clarity, spiritual grounding, and leadership growth. And not every book hits hard, but when it does, it shifts something internally inside of me. You see, the value of reading nonfiction is in who you become while reading and how you live differently because of it. The second lesson I learned over the last 7 years is that I need to read less, but consistently. I don't read for hours a day. I don't do 100 books a year or 52 books a year. My goal is 5 minutes a day. That's it. That's the whole plan. It's not impressive, but it works. And like I've mentioned before, I have read every week for the last number of years. I think it's important to note that I read most days, but I occasionally miss, and that's fine. See, because this is not about rigid perfection, it's about consistency over time. And here's the nuance. When a book is good, I do slow down and read it slowly. I want it to marinate. I want to sit with it. Sometimes I'll read a page or two and then come back to it in a few weeks. I spent 2 years reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I spent another year rereading it slowly while building out some of the leadership curriculum that I teach based on that book. I spent another 2 years reading a book called Rising Strong by Brené Brown, and that transformed a lot of my internal landscape. And if a book is bad, I don't abandon it, I just speed it up. I push through. The next thing I've learned is to let your life season shape your reading list. When I'm struggling with communication, I look for a book on communication. When I want to grow in business, I find something that sharpens my thinking in that area. When I'm struggling with parenting or a particular aspect of parenting siblings, I look for books in those areas. Let your life dictate your reading. Don't just pick up what's trending, pick up what's useful to your next step. And here's a tip. Don't just ask for recommendations. Ask people you respect. What book transformed you? Or what book transformed you in this area? Also ask them why. Why was this so helpful? The next lesson is to be ruthless about what you read. I do not take random book recommendations. That's not because I'm arrogant, but because my time and my attention are so finite. But if someone keeps insisting that I read a book, I'll ask them, what was most valuable to you when you read it? And how do you think this book would help me in my current season? If they can't answer that, then I'm out. But if they can answer that and they provide a reasonable answer, I really do want to read it. Because I'm not reading for entertainment, I'm reading for transformation. The next lesson I learned is that it's important to understand what kind of reading you're doing. There are 3 kinds of reading in my understanding: entertainment reading, information reading, and transformation reading. Entertainment reading is great in different seasons and time. Taking a break, reading for fun, going for a walk and listening to a great story is incredible. Information reading is where most people live. They gather tips, skim for tactics, but it can feel like junk calories, just consuming food, but it doesn't have a lot of nutritional value for your brain or your life. Transformational reading is where you apply what you learn. It's where you wrestle with big ideas, where you walk away not just knowing something new, but becoming someone different. And that's what this whole video is about. It's not about reading for volume or entertainment or information, but for change. The sixth lesson I learned is that it's always important to have a few books going at once. Sometimes when you need to pause and chew on one particular book to let an idea sit or breathe or take root, that doesn't mean you stop reading altogether. It means you pause and go to a different book. So for me, I always keep a few books going at once. When one book needs to simmer, I shift to another. That keeps me moving forward in my habit without rushing the process of the transformation. This is not about multitasking as much as it's about strategic layering. Each book serves a purpose, and I move between them depending on the season or even the needs that I have that particular day. In this video, I went over 6 lessons I learned over the last 7 years of reading every single week. Nonfiction reading is about transformation, not information or entertainment. And for me, reading has changed the way I think, I live, and I lead. Now, if you're wondering whether reading still matters or whether it's actually worth carving out time in your busy life, don't miss this next video where I break down 9 reasons everyone should read more nonfiction. Go ahead and check out this video right over here. And if it's not on the screen, be sure to get subscribed so you can see it when it comes out. I'll see you guys over there.